Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to another Vickie Storm Show. Yes, you're watching this live through Zimbo Live TV. What a brilliant, a beautiful evening. I mean, it's a bit hot, it's a bit cold, depending wherever you are. I mean, where I am, this dude is a bit hot today, but it is an exciting segment we've got on for you all at home. To have an amazing man, an entrepreneur, and we're going to be speaking to him shortly. But to tell you who he is, I'm going to give you a brief summary of who he is. We're going to be talking to Ian Robert Henney, and he is a founder as well as a group executive chairman of Borodale Brook Academy and its subsidiaries. And as well, he runs this amazing academy based in Zimbabwe with almost about 340 children, if I'm not mistaken, students that are based in Zimbabwe as well, with a group over 80 employees that work with him as well, and with assets over 10 million US dollars. I mean, this is something that is great and probably an inspiration to a lot of us who are going to be watching today. His school as well is a major international empire that has been built in Zimbabwe. He was born in 1970, and he's been on this journey where he's been got into education system, and he has impacted the education system in a different way. His drive is to champion the development of education in Zimbabwe and throughout Zimbabwe and to all the students in Zimbabwe. Tonight we have Ian Robert Henney. Mr. Robert Henney, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for actually inviting me to this program.
It's a final pleasure to actually have you here and join us.
Thank you very much.
Now, I mean, you're an amazing man. You've accomplished quite a lot, which a lot of us probably today, I think for the viewers at home, trust me when I say you'll be inspired and you have a lot to learn. Before we go into detail about the academy, you are the founder of Borodale Brook Academy, and you work with a team of people. How is it feeling to be running such a big empire?
Well, it's a bit of a challenge because remember, if you actually employ over 80 employees, it is quite a big challenge. Challenge in actually terms of paying the people, challenges in terms of looking after students as well.
Yeah.
So it's a very big challenge.
It's a big challenge. And I hope later on we're going to get to know in depth in terms of the things that you're going to do or what you're doing. But one thing I wanted to take us back to is 20 years ago, you were a man who made a decision that you'll stop working in a bank, but you were going to follow your dreams. Now, what made you make that decision? I mean, for you to come to the point of making such a massive decision, that was a critical decision that you made.
All right. When I was young, I had always wanted to be a top businessman. And when I was working, I saw that, well, you always get paid every 30 days, and it's like the money gets finished, and then you wait for the payday. So I didn't want that kind of life. It's like I wanted to be somebody who pays people instead of being paid.
Yeah. Do you get tired of having to, like, saying you're being paid at the end of the month and you have to wait and you've got bills that are coming in and you're thinking, oh, I need to clear that bill and clear that bill. I mean, that's where everyone is at the moment, a lot of people. But that decision. Okay,
that decision was actually crucial in that when I told my wife that I was going to resign and actually start my own business, she didn't believe me until when I did it, and we were in London then. That's when I did set up an office at my house, and that is when it all started.
So it was that decision that made you say, I'm tired, that's it.
That was the best decision I've ever done in my life. Yeah. So I am very grateful that I made that decision.
And you mentioned family as well, your missus, but your family and everyone else. Did everybody believe in the decision you were making? I mean, you were leaving a paid job where you have assurance that at the end of the month, there's something that's coming in. And all of a sudden, you don't want that anymore.
Well, I know that always, when you always make a decision, family members always interfere, And they always say that either it's a good decision or it's a very bad decision. My family thought it was a very bad decision, leaving a job, especially then I had kids to actually look after, and I had a wife to look after. I had bills to pay. And so they were trying to explain to me that even if I wanted to start a business, I should keep working. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go full-time. And actually, I thought they were right the actual first time, because it took me almost a year for me to be really well established. And for me to start getting money out of my business. So I struggled for a year, but lucky enough, my wife had a good job, but obviously, you know, the money wasn't enough to actually maybe sustain our living. So when everything started booming, everybody was smiling.
And you did mention that, I mean, when we were doing a bit of research to find out more about you, you know, one thing that captured us was that you made a decision and you listened to your heart rather than your mind.
That is very true. Normally, I don't. It's like I do it the opposite way.
The other way.
I always listen to my heart and not my head. So it's like that, a decision. So it's like later on I actually realized that my heart is the most important. That's why even up to now I always listen to my heart
rather than the mind. Because the mind is negative. I mean, the mind will tell you that that's an academy, that's too big, and then you've got this amount of money to try to achieve to, and the mind says, no, you can't really do that. And then your mind says, at this particular moment in your life, maybe you've got £5 in your bank account.
That is exactly what happened, because when I went to look for a business premise, I didn't even have a pen. So my belief is you don't need money to ever start a business. You need brains. So I know that most people have always asked me that how can you not have money if you want to start a business? It's a bit tricky, but with me, that is why I believe that you need brains
to start
to ever start a business.
Because that's quite important. The issue is that a lot of us thinking of maybe in the sense of capital, that once I have £10,000, then I can start a business. But if I go right now to people and say, I want to start a business of selling, and they say, how much do you have? And I don't have anything, immediately people will cut me out and they won't take me seriously.
But with me, I always believe that first, you have to like what you want. Money is a secondary issue. Don't think, even if I feel like I want a car now, I don't look at how much I have got in my pocket. I look at what I want first. And then the money issue comes later. But it's important to always like what you want first before you think of monetary issues.
Now, the situation, you were based in England when this was all starting up. And you say you set up your office as well here. Now, wasn't it a struggle? I mean, you're in England, but you want to go do business in Zimbabwe as well, or did you want to do business here first and then take it to Zimbabwe? I mean, with everything that's going on in England as well, did you not find it a bit too difficult?
It was quite tough, but I was smart enough to actually start the business here, and I managed to make the business grow. When it had reached a certain level, then I moved it to Zimbabwe. Then I had enough capital to actually build all the buildings. That meant I didn't have to go and rent any buildings in Zimbabwe, because I had personally built most of the buildings.
Yes, house.
Yes.
Now, Napoleon Bonaparte says, behind every great man is a great woman. And now we're thinking about Mrs. Henney. I mean, you're going through all this from the time you started till now. You mentioned Mrs. Henney as the Chief Executive Officer of Borrowdale Brook Academy. How has her influence been in your life from the day you decided that you want to run a school or start business?
My wife has always been the best. She's my best friend. She is everything to me. And so when I was in England, she was a full-time housewife, and it's like I didn't allow her to actually go to work. I had to tell her to stop working. But when we moved to Zimbabwe, I made it a point that she has to also learn what I do. And she started as the director of studies until last year when I actually personally promoted her, because I used to be the chief executive, and then I promoted her to be the group chief executive, and now I am the group executive chairman. So she has managed to do well, and it's like I'm really impressed with the effort she has actually put towards the school, the time, and I can believe now as we speak she must be at work.
She's working.
She's working.
But as a couple, I mean, again, you're setting standards of saying when you wanted to achieve a dream, but you've worked together to achieve that dream as well. Would you encourage couples to work together when it comes to achieving goals in life and setting goals, but also raising each other up? I mean, you said she's worked well, and then now she's a CEO. That's a powerful position. And there's a trust that's also included in all that. Is that how you would encourage couples to do work together?
I have always said that if you are a married couple, you should always work together. I know it sounds a bit harsh because you will be working together, you are staying together, you are going on holidays together. Many people have asked me that, don't we get bored? No, we never get bored. And it makes life easier. Like now I am here I am here in England, and she is in Zimbabwe. She's making sure that everything is done properly. And can you imagine if I was not working with her, who was going to look after
who would you trust?
Trust, it's an inbuilt thing, but it is important that your wife, obviously, there is no way she can ever do something bad. She always does everything for the good of the company and the family as well.
Yeah. In one of your speeches, you did bring her out to be your pillar of strength, but also a pillar of strength of the whole foundation itself, the whole academy itself as well. Is that how you and perhaps the teachers, then everybody sees and values her?
That is very true. Normally when I am at work, I rarely speak to staff members. Because like as the group executive chairman, obviously I would want to be seen talking to teachers, talking to like maybe non-academic staff. But she is the direct link between students and also between parents and also between employees as well. So obviously she is doing a marvelous job. Well, we always have meetings once every week, and she is always updating me of whatever problems or whatever successes are going on. So obviously she's very important. She is the best.
You and Mrs. Henney have wonderful children, girls and one boy. Do you, in your success, do you expect your own children to perhaps be greater than you, or achieve more than what you have achieved, or are you also looking out in terms of looking out to what they want to achieve in life and supporting them as parents?
My dream as a father and as a businessman is to make sure that my kids succeed and actually do better than I have done. But obviously, I am going to do wonders is like in my own maybe I think business career. So one day they will actually take over, and it's like because of the new technology and all that, they can always improve the company. So I've got faith that whenever they finish school, they will come and work for Board of Brook Academy group of companies, and they will improve the school and the standards as well.
Okay. Do any of them attend Bordeaux Book Academy, or they don't attend that school?
All my kids go to Bordeaux Book Academy.
That leading by example.
And it's important, like my last, I got 2 at primary school. That's Karen and Bestie. And I got 3 at high school. Kundai is starting university this year here in the UK. I even say to myself, I wish I had built a university. They would all go to my own university. I should lead by own example. So it's very, very important that when you start a school, your own kids should also go to the school.
And
why should they go to another school when you have got a school? That means you don't have confidence with your school. I've got 100% confidence with my own school, so they should attend my own school.
Mr. Ian Henney, thank you so much for that information. Now, we are going to go to just a short break. When we come back, we are going to look at his own educational history. I mean, a lot of us would say, what did he do? What has he achieved for us to trust him with our children? So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right here on the Vickie Storm Show. This is live on Zimbo Live TV. Now we're back on the Vickie Storm Show. My name is Vickie Storm, and I'm joined by an amazing man who went out and said, you know what, against all the odds, and said, despite whether there's money in my bank account or no money in my bank account, I'm going to start a business. And today he runs an empire of at least worth $10 million in Zimbabwe, an academy that supports young students, both primary and high school. I've got Mr. Ian Robert Henney, if you've just joined us. Now, with your own education, you went to Cranbourne Boys. How was the experience there?
Cranbourne Boys, I think, is the best school I have ever attended. We were young, and of course, like we used to do all kind of things, sports, and academically I managed to do quite well. That's why I actually enrolled into a bachelor's degree in computer science. And when I finished it, I also did my MBA General Management.
Yeah. And this was when you come here in Greenwich University.
That was right. Yes,
Yeah.
That is right.
Yeah.
So academically, I have not done bad. So
Yeah.
I should,
you lead by example.
I should think, or should I say, I am extremely lucky that I also managed to do a degree which has helped me in life to actually start and run their business properly.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, because if you look at our system, maybe where some people pick degrees that don't actually help them later on in life, or I don't know, either they don't help them or they don't know how to apply those degrees to help them in life. Do you think it's a mistake that either the teachers do, or when we pick those degrees, it's a mistake that we do and we don't know how to actually apply them? And you're applying your business management now, but some people do degrees and they don't end up working where they've studied.
I believe it is a mistake on teacher's side, because when students are doing Form 4, lower 6, upper 6, they should be guided on what they should do later on in their life. And I believe that somebody should do what they want, not to be told what to do. So you will see that at certain times, people will do A-level English, divinity,
Yes.
and then they do mathematics. But later on in their life, they go and do something totally different, which they didn't really like. That, I should say, it would be a mistake on the teacher's side. So teachers should be able to guide students and also speak to parents about the future of their children.
Yeah, so I was going to say, because parents can tend to say, maybe I want my child, for example, to be an engineer, and the child has no passion whatsoever to be an engineer, yet they want to be a doctor or something else, or they want to do media. Now, how do you encourage parents to say?
We have got we always do programs at our school where we always call parents, and we also tell them what we could have seen about the child, I remember I had a friend who was a lawyer, and he really wanted his son to be a lawyer, but we actually discouraged him that he doesn't want to be a lawyer. He wants to be an accountant. So basically, it is very important to actually coordinate between teachers, parents, and the student as well. So such that there will be teachers encourage parents or actually guide parents to actually maybe encourage students to do degrees or sort of careers which are sort of equivalent to what they want, not what the parent wants. So it is very, very important that parents should also be involved when we are doing a career guidance for the child.
Yeah, and I think it's incredible that your academy is providing career guidance, which maybe a lot of schools don't have time for career guidance. You just enroll you enroll your child, and you leave them. Maybe there's no time for one-to-one with the parent before the enrollment happens, before a lot of things are done, to then say, what is it that you want to achieve, and what does a child want to achieve as well?
Yes, you are very right. But with us, we are so much privileged that we have got different organizations who always come to their school, and we also have so that they can actually have sessions, meetings with our students, so that they can actually guide them on the right path. So it is always important that career guidance courses are also conducted at schools.
Now, and again, in terms of the education system in Zimbabwe, what's your take with where things are right now? Is it easily accessible, and is there a lot that's being poured into education in Zimbabwe? But what is actually going on with the education system?
To be very honest, I was in Zimbabwe a couple of weeks ago, and the government is really trying very hard to actually put money into the education sector. Like now, they've actually encouraged parents to actually make their children start school when they are 3 years old.
Oh, okay.
So it is quite important, and a lot of money have been put, especially on the e-learning side, computers as well, broadband as well. So I think the government is really trying, besides some economic hardships, but I think the government is really trying its best.
To sort, yeah. And then would you say then your education and your thoughts of just the education system, so is that the inspiration that has given you to run an academy? But also not just run it for just have one small academy, but you want to expand. We were talking about earlier on about your 5-year goal is to have several schools around. Is that the inspiration of where you've come from leading to now?
That is very true. Like when I was interviewed last year, I had actually mentioned that I had a 5-year plan, which meant every year I wanted to make sure I've got a school in another different suburb.
Yeah.
I have managed to actually do that this year, such that we have now separated the primary from the high school. So already we have got 2 schools, and we are hoping also that next year we're going to do the same again, and the year after we're going to do the same again. So I know the 5-year plan is going to be a successful one.
It's good. You also spoke about a number of classes that you've expanded. I mean, from the time you've separated the primary and the high school, you've added classrooms, extra classrooms.
That's very true. If you look at pictures on our high school, we have also constructed at the back 14 more new classrooms. They have been tiled, and as we speak, students are now using them. Yeah. That includes a new state-of-the-art library, which the students are really finding it very, very useful.
Yeah. Speaking of a library, state-of-the-art library, some schools tend to, maybe let me say government schools, we tend to get here that maybe they need donations of books, would you say you have the privilege where you've got an amazing library, but also we spoke about e-learning, which you have access to, and your students seem to have access to e-learning and computers and laptops. Now that's a huge privilege for the students themselves to have.
That is very true. Well, if you want to have quality education, you have to be up to date. Like with us now, we have got a state-of-the-art library, state-of-the-art computer room. We also have got e-learning, and we have got broadband, such that every student can easily access internet wherever they are at the school. That means even if they are at the school grounds, they can still sit and still access the internet. So it's very, very important for the students, especially when they want to do their researches, they want to do, they want to print past examination papers. So if you deprive them of that, then they will not excellent well in school. So it is very, very important to have things like internet, e-learning. E-learning also helps them because they will be seeing things which they are learning. So it makes life easier for them, just like the way they do it here in England. Yes, in the UK. So we have made life easier for our own students. So I think we are trying our best.
And what do you think then, before we just go on a short break, what do you think is the greatest impact? Something that would be a great impact in terms of the educational system, something that maybe if we implemented it in all schools, I'm talking about not just private schools, but government schools, if every child had access to that thing, that perhaps would improve their ratings in schools.
Right, especially if all the government schools could have computer labs which are well equipped, science labs which are well equipped, e-learning, and also broadband where students can access internet easily, that can make them improve in their studies. So I would encourage some of the schools, even the other new schools opening, to make sure that they make it a priority that they invest in the new technology to make life easier for our own students.
Yeah. Okay. When we come back, we are going to look at more of his journey and from the time he started and where he is now and what his future plans are. So we'll be back in a few seconds. Now, a little bit of this and that on Mr. Ian Robert Henney, but still, we want to know more. Still, there are questions out there, and I know if you're saying, okay, if I wanted my child to be enrolled in that school, what's the process? And what about if I want my child to go to that school and they're attaining great results, but I don't know how to get them because I cannot afford it? Well, we are going to find out. Now, your journey, you started off in England, DTH College in 2000. What happened to that?
Right, DTH College, we were dealing mostly with international students. So it's like that. So we had 100% international students. And because of the new law in 2009, the actually government made it its own mission to close down all private-owned colleges. So I knew that they were actually going to do that.
Yeah.
So I prepared myself. That's why I started Borodale Brook Academy in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
If you go around here in the UK, you rarely see a private-owned colleges. Either they are all council or government colleges.
Oh.
So it was a clever move. I knew it was going to come, so I had to maneuver another plan.
And you invested very well, I guess.
Extremely well.
Yeah. Now, Borodale Brook Academy has, if I'm not mistaken, has about at least 340 students at the moment. And in terms of those students, now, you get to enroll them and they get to apply. But I'm sure with every private school comes with requirements and high standards. Should they be achieving a lot to join the school? And do you take pride in your students as well, achieving high grades and maintaining those high grades?
Our mission, to be honest, is to, I believe that there is no one who is down. I have had instances where it's like I have had students who have not done well in their O-levels, and they come out to our school and then they repeat and they do extremely well. Why? Because of maximum concentration, few students in our class, less than 20. So really, we are not very particular about our results, because our own mission is for us to improve the child. So why should the child fail when they come to our school where we have got all the resources and all the qualified teachers? So I always say they will pass at every cost.
Yeah, and you've had recently where it's come up where you've had about a 100% pass rate on O-level and A-level Cambridge results that have been they're out there, and it states that a lot of your students did very, very well.
That is very true. Well, we set for our first exams, O-levels and A-level, in 2011, and we had a 100% pass rate. I know that one could ask me that, how can you say 100% pass rates when you had maybe 12 students, but they all passed? So we say
this 100%.
So from 2011 up to now, we have always had 100% pass rates in all subjects.
Yeah. And in terms of the process then, if I'm a parent and I want to bring my child to your school, what's the process? Do I need to call you? Do I need to get hold of somebody in your school and then filling in forms? And a lot of your parents, understandingly, they are not based in Zimbabwe. They're either in Australia or America or England. How would they get hold and sort out that?
That is very true. Normally, we always encourage either the parent or the guardian to actually visit the school.
Yeah.
Why we do that is we want to have a brief background about the child, just to know how they've been doing prior to them registering at our school. So it is always important that we speak to the parents first, so that we know the good part of the child and the bad part as well, and then we take it from there. Yeah. So it is always important that we speak to the parent and we also interview the child. If it comes to primary school, we always invite the students before they start to write a test.
Okay.
Why? We will be sort of testing their IQ to see if they need any extra help.
Okay.
So that's why we every day from 2 up to 4 o'clock, we always have classes for those who are finding it difficult. During during normal lessons. So it is always important that we know some of these things before a child is actually enrolled in the school.
Yeah, and then you've got then parents who would say, well, I'd love my child to have the same benefits as the other children as well, but I can't afford it. I can't actually afford to pay everything. Perhaps, maybe I can pay part of it, but my child is an A-star in the school, maybe the previous school where they're at, but they want to take them a step higher and have them access to like the e-learnings, the library, and all the other stuff that you do.
Yes, that is that is very true. Not every parent has got the cash to actually come and pay school fees. So I have come up with a plan where we stretch the money over a 4-month period.
Okay.
Like we charge 1,000 for the day and 2,000 for the boarding. So most of our parents, they've actually requested for a payment plan. And we have had also instances where they are very, very bright students who cannot afford. I have started the Henney Foundation. This foundation is like, the idea is to help those bright students who cannot afford.
To get
So
a chance.
we will be helping them to pay their tuition fee, and we'll be helping them to buy school uniform. And if they are day scholars, we also pay for their school bus fees.
Okay. Now, the Henney Foundation has at least 50 students that, a lot more than 50 that you've funded and you've been working with. Now, you are able to fund other people, but does Henney Foundation get any assistance as well and support?
So far, I have not really got any financial assistance from any other organizations, and I hope with time, if some other organizations see the good job I'm doing, they'll be able to also put something into it and also assist. But for now, I am personally sponsoring from my own pocket.
Yeah. That's something, that's another step again. I mean, when you're ready, you've got an academy, and then you have to sponsor. But that's something amazing. Now, is there a way that if anybody else wanted to take part and wanted to give to Henney Foundation, is there a process that they can follow?
Normally what I do, I always work with certain charity organizations which are in Zimbabwe, and some charity organizations which are in London, Australia, America. So they always approach me to actually say that they have got a student who is bright, and the student cannot afford to pay fees. And that is when I will then come in and even assist.
Yeah.
So the past year, I have been doing it through other charity organizations.
They tend to assist as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
they tend to assist.
Okay. Now, back on Broadwell, Brook Academy, it has been described as an empire, and as well that the academy also has subsidiaries as well. Now, what do we mean by, the empire thing? Is this where we're getting because of how big and the influence it has now and where it's going to be? So is that why everybody seems to be calling it the Empire State?
That is very true. We have just bought land. Last year, we also bought land in Christian Bank, and we also bought land in even Selu. So we will be building different schools there. That's why the Board of Brook Academy is being called an empire, because people can foresee that within a couple of years we will be having so many schools. So really, it is a very big empire.
Yeah. Right. When we come back, we are going to speak more, a bit more on the other side, where how does he balance his lifestyle from the time when he's a businessman and a family man, but also the other times when he's enjoying his beer with a friend. We are live on the Vickie Storm Show on Zimbo Live TV. Welcome back to the Vickie Storm Show, and I hope you guys have been enjoying getting to more details on Mr. Ian Robert Henney. But again, you are a philanthropist and you love people, you care about people, and the one thing that we get to see is that you have a desire to develop those around you and the community around you. Is there a passion that you have?
To be honest with you, I love to be loved. I enjoy being around people. And it will really worry me if somebody doesn't like me. I have to find out why they don't like me, because I am a people's people.
Yeah.
So, because I'm a people's people, it makes my life easier. We are always happy. Socializing is not that hard. So, and also because I'm a businessman, I also appreciate that money comes from the people. So if I don't get along with the people, how am I going to make the money?
Yes.
So I have to make sure that I am well loved by the society.
Now, it's interesting when you're saying you love to socialize, because we picked up a few pictures of you and we were going to show everybody. I mean, there's you having fun. And the thing is, there's so many of them, which we talk about balanced life. How do you balance your social life and then your business as well? But then again, you also have the political life where you are associated with iconic figures in Zimbabwe, including His Excellency, the President Robert Mugabe. I mean, how are you managing to balance all that up and still be able to concentrate on your work? I mean, you've got your beer, you've got your work. Yeah.
All right, that one I'll go answer. Socializing is always important because I always say play hard, die hard.
Oh, yeah.
During Monday to Friday, we always get to work very early. I leave work very late, so I take my weekend personal. I want to enjoy to forget about the pressure at work and enjoy myself. Social life, political life. Yeah. I am not really political affiliated to any party. I am not into politics. But as you have said about the president is my neighbor. And so it's obvious I have to know him because he is my neighbor. So
does that come with privileges because you're next door, then everything as well?
Not really. It is just he is my neighbor, and it was like I cannot avoid that. So, so it was like it is also important if you have got an important neighbor. Well, fine, it's a privilege, but not benefits out of that. Yeah.
Now, the other one interesting thing about your social life is this one name that everybody calls you with is Yanso. It's like everyone says Yanso this, Yanso that, Yanso that, and your number plates on your car. Yanso, why? What is Yanso all about?
Oh, when we were young, when we were in Highfield, because I also grew up in Highfield, everyone had to have a sort of nickname. Like there is David, they would call him Diva. Jonathan would be called Johnson. So Ian was Yanso. So it is quite amazing that certain people don't even know that my name is Ian, because I remember a couple of weeks ago, I actually called my own friend, and then he asked me who is speaking, and then I said, it's Ian, and then he said, who is Ian? I said, Ian. So he said, oh, hi, Ian. So, those are the things, because everybody, like, especially the people I actually grew up with, they all call me Ian. So it is just a nickname, really.
So now you're able to balance off your social life and everything else, and then still work as well. What, for me, is the inspiration? What gets you going?
Well, pressure also gets you going. it is actually very, very important. Like what I said, play hard, die hard. So like during weekdays, we work too hard. We really get home late. And also Friday, Saturdays, you want to also squeeze in children. You want to also make sure that they are also happy. So I manage Fridays. I take my kids out for dinner. I come and bring them home. If I want to go out, I go out. Saturdays is also their day. We can have a barbecue, or we can go at my sister's houses. We go and have barbecue. So it is very, very important that you actually mix business with the way you want to sort of operate over the weekend. So it's very, very important that I should be happy over the weekend, because you'll be taking off the stress out of you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, before we let you go, what is your one-term vision, your biggest vision, when you think about everything that you're doing now, the academy itself, the foundation, and you as a person? Where do you want, or where do you see yourself ultimately?
Ultimately, I will be honest with you, after my 5-year plan, since I bought land in Amsterdam, I want to build a polytechnic, school, polytech college, and I will be dealing mostly with maybe diplomas, certificates, and then eventually, if it permits, I would love to build a very big university, because the land, I've got it, and so the sky is the limit for me. Yeah. So definitely, give me a couple of years, the university will be there.
I mean, I truly believe that it's going to be there. I truly believe. Now, you said when we were, before we go online and we're backstage, we're talking about surprises, and he said he doesn't mind surprises. And I said, okay, well, if you don't mind surprises, now there's something that as Zimbo Live TV we would like to do for the Ian Foundation. We would like to donate a computer for at least somebody to use. At least we know, because we've mentioned that there are some people that come to school and they don't have those things that they don't have everything or access to all of these things. And as Zimbo Live TV, we want to give the Ian Foundation just a computer to say to somebody, have access to that.
Thank you very, very much. And well, that's a privilege of coming to a well-organized show. I'm very, very grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the computer. I am going to donate it to one of the students who is underprivileged. It's like, I mean, financially. So it will be of great use to the students. So I'm very, very grateful for the donation.
Okay. Now, I've just been handed, this is just one of the parts, just so everybody knows that when we say we're donating, it's not just a paper thing, but we going to give you this, and like you've said, I hope to whoever uses...
Of great use to, I think, somebody in Zimbabwe. Yeah. So thank you very, very much, Vickie. Thanks. Yeah. This is very nice. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ian Henney, it's been a privilege and an honor having you on the Vickie Storm Show. We thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Now, if you're home and you have been inspired, like I've been inspired, sometimes you just need to make a decision about what you want in your life. You need to focus and you need to go for it, and don't let anything stop you. Now, we've learned a lot tonight from Yanso, some of you would know him as, or Ian Robert Henney. But from Zimbo Live and the Vickie Storm Show, we're privileged, and we want to say to everyone at home, have a good evening, and see you next time on the show.